This pepper plant I want to save. Dig it up again and bring it in greenhouse 1. This greenhouse is not heated. It's got some color on it. Yeah, so this greenhouse is where I'm putting the pepper plants I'm digging up out of the garden. We have 30s in the forecast. Oh, that's really indented. So I'm digging out peppers out of the garden to put in a heated greenhouse for the winter. And I'm not cutting mine all the way back. I'm going to continue to try to grow the peppers that I took off the last pepper plant that I moved out of greenhouse 2 just before the frost. That little pepper plant spit out a lot of peppers. I broke it several times trying to get it out of the cage, so it's a wee bit smaller now, but it's in greenhouse 2. Last of the tomatoes, when I processed these, weren't all the way done. These 2 right here are this year's pepper plants. They were late and never went into the ground, so they're staying in the greenhouse. But I do continue to get peppers for a while, a couple months, and there's lights and heat, so. Chilies, I think, could be poblanos. One of them's a poblano, I don't know which one. Citronella and lantana. I had lantana sitting over here on a really hot day and it kind of got burnt. But it's not dead, I just had to cut it back. Had really pretty blooms on it until that happened. You know, stuff always happens. Go roll with the punches. So this back table is not as harsh as the front. This is south facing. Lemongrass. Never went back in the ground. It's last year's lemongrass. But I didn't like this one as much as the new one that I bought, so I never put it in the ground. I left it in a pot. So I think I got all the peppers out of the vegetable garden. They're going to be wilty for a minute. It's aroma. I didn't know what that tomato was. It was volunteer, and I took care of it, and now I know what it is. Tearing down the garden. Getting ready to pull that. I had to cut it. It's one more spot cleaned up. Most important job is done. I got the peppers out. These tomato plants are going to be no good after next week. Unless the weatherman's wrong. Lower 40s starts the process of ruining the tomatoes. Temperature, they're heat loving. I'm gonna pull these and bring them in. They're far enough along. I'm gonna save seed from this one too because I really like this tomato. Been taking the sunflowers down and collecting the seed heads. Still like that one. I'm gonna leave that one. Broomcorn. That's what these are called. So this is the broomcorn seed that I bought. And it's dry. Debating on finding a vase for it. The bucket has sunflower heads in it. Drying. Everybody came out, now everybody's come back in. This used to be mint. Catmint. Catmint seeds itself all over my yard. But I can use this pot. I have one really small rose of Sharon left. Can't quite find a spot for it in the garden. But it needs potted up. This is the little rose of Sharon that I can't find a spot for. And this size easily gets munched by yard critters. So maybe just pot it up. So I got all the peppers in. This is what happened to this one. It went smushy. Plant won't wilty, so I had to cut it back. Still one more small pepper on it. Here's one that didn't go smushy. So I still have some. But this one, biggest one, went smushy. That's the drawback of digging them up while they're producing. So I started with all the peppers that weren't producing, and I brought them in. And it warmed back up for a while. It was fine. This one looks so healthy. That's a nice looking plant. So eventually, though, it got so cold I had to pull out everything in. The forecast was, in the 30s, and it's, the peppers will start to rot when it gets cold. They won't really keep producing. I had to put all the big ones on the floor. This one, a mouse had gotten in there and kicked a whole bunch of dirt all over my table. So I had to take it apart and rearrange things. And I don't see the problem now. So I guess it worked. For now, anyway. Yeah, some of the peppers took to the transplant real well, and the ones that didn't, I just cut back. And I'll keep kind of doing that. I'll keep cutting back the ones that, this one here, doesn't look wonderful. I've cut it back some. I'll leave it for a minute, and then if it doesn't snap out of it, I'll cut it back some more. You can see some of them I cut back a lot. Where's the other one? This one was the first one I cut back a lot, and it's regrowing. There's new fruit coming along. Several pepper plants. So yeah, I'll keep getting peppers for a while. I lost some, but I'll keep getting peppers for a while. I'm assuming for a couple months. And then I'll have a little bit of a dead space in the middle when winter's at its worst. And, you know, they'll go through a little rest, right? Turmeric in the middle. I needed some height. That's why I put it there. The turmeric at some point will die all the way back. And I'll leave it in the pot. I won't, unless I need turmeric in the house, there's no reason to dig it up. Last year, towards the end of the winter, I did need turmeric, and I did dig up enough for my needs. I didn't do any more than that. Let's see, I dug up a sweet potato. And part of the vine got re-rooted in here. It had little sweet potatoes on it. You know how the vines do, they root in as they sprawl across the garden. That's a really tall pepper. That's a nice one. So anyway, I'm a little bit of a mess and I got my hands full, but I gotta clean up the floor so I can get around better. Like those bungees, they don't need to be in here. I'm pull them out. Fertilizer doesn't need to be in here either. I can pull that out. I can put that tub back up on the table. So yeah, still cleaning up. Just like that, I can move around again. I think this can go in the house. Weather stripping, I use around the door. And if you're doing any kind of weather stripping, you gotta do it while it's still warm. This one's kind of losing its sticky, but it's staying put. I don't know if I'm going to redo it. So maybe I'll take the weather stripping in the house now too. Can always bring it back out. The last tomato. The more stuff I can bring in the house, the cleaner my greenhouse will be. Ginger. I harvested a little bit of ginger just before I had to pull it out. This little dead bit is where I harvested. And then I transplanted it afterwards. So I have ginger in the house. I grated it and mixed it with honey. The recipe said that it will ferment. You have to keep an eye on it. So we got a little 24-hour stomach bug. And we used the ginger. It's 2 weeks in the honey. It doesn't taste like it's fermented. I check it every day and take just a little bit or put a little bit in my tea. Settles the stomach. First thing my husband said was, I don't want any tea. And I'm like, oh, honey ginger. That'll work. So, I mean, it's so good. It is so good. I don't think I necessarily need a stomach ache to have a little bit of ginger honey. And I do drink tea, so I do like it in my tea. And for foods that are fermented are really good for your gut. So I wasn't really against that being the issue. So, I mean, maybe it will. Right now, I don't see any signs of it. I don't taste any signs of it. But I'm okay with it. Oh, I see another pepper. So yeah, I'll get peppers in here for a while. Last year when I put these peppers back out in the garden, because this is my second year doing this way, I asked myself out loud, was it worth potting the peppers up and bringing them in the greenhouse? And the answer was yes, for sure. And then the second question is, as I was putting them back in the garden, is it worth putting them back outside? And I was doing it, but I mean, I don't know. Now the season's totally passed, and I'm asking myself that question again. And no, it was not worth putting all these peppers back in the ground. If the peppers do well in a pot, I think they should just stay in a pot. These little ones that are new this year, I'll probably up-pot them. And I'll find a place where I can keep these in pots where they'll do well. They're aphid magnets, so I got to keep a really good eye on them. If you've ever had a pepper inside of a cold frame or a greenhouse, you know. I didn't have as much problems with aphids in my cold frames as I did in the greenhouse. But yeah, there are things that are magnets for aphids. So that's what the spray's in here for. I have to keep a really good eye out and just keep treating. Onions that I started during the summer. I just had a terrible time with onions. Ashwagandha, I cut that all the way back and it's reflushed. And I still have some small peppers down here. This is marshmallow. Seeds from my marshmallow when I was harvesting. Delphinium, I only have one left. I am not having any luck with the baby delphiniums. I got one. I mean, I had 3 or so, and the other pot where I had delphiniums, it failed. They dampened off. So this is delphiniums in the milk crate. Looks like they need a little water. But it has to be very little. So they're doing okay. I might get a couple in this. This might be the method for the delphiniums. And I didn't use up all the seeds yet, but I'm going to do another milk jug with delphiniums soon. I've been too busy to do it, but soon. Lemongrass got tucked back here. It's good to rearrange these plants. When I rearranged them, I got a good look at everything. And that's always good when I'm cleaning the greenhouse. To take everything and look at it one plant at a time takes a while. Everything looks good. I pulled up onions. These onions are cut and come again. Green onions. They're the ones that multiply. So they'll keep dividing and multiplying, and I cut them back really well when I put them in this pot. I like having onions. I need onions. I mean, sometimes I just need for tacos, for instance. I like to top my chili bowls with a little green onion. A little cheese, a little, you know, this and that. Fritos. Good on chili. The olive tree I had on the deck. So far, so good. It should not defoliate. But if it does, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's dead. But I'm hoping it won't. It is an evergreen in its climate. And same with the lemon tree. It shouldn't defoliate, but if it does, that doesn't necessarily mean it's dead. It did defoliate once, and this is about 7. This lemon tree's about 7 years old. It did well in this overflow area, which doesn't stay really warm, but it stays warm enough. 45, I think, is as cold as it gets. 40, 45. So it stays above freezing. So these tropical hibiscus, cut this one back a little bit. They should do absolutely wonderful. This is the second year I kept the hibiscus in here, in the overflow, because it did so well last year. It did better out here in this less light area with artificial light than it did in my house. With less artificial light. In the winter it's so cloudy. These are, all of these tropical hibiscus are seedlings from my main one. And they all lost leaves bringing them in. I mean, I was constantly for a month pulling yellow dried leaves off these hibiscus trees. And I've been doing a little bit of fertilizing because I didn't like the green on my lemon tree. It was too yellow. Now it's deeper green. So yeah, it was lacking some sort of nutrient. Lemon tree propagations. These are a couple years old now. Wasn't this year. I didn't do any this year because I have enough. Oh my gosh, I have so much to take care of. I do absolutely love having all this green in the house in the dead of winter. And I'll do my best to keep it happy. The mother of the tropical hibiscus. I got the trunk straight yesterday. It was crooked. Takes up a lot of space, but Rick and I both really love it, and we're okay with it. We like having a tree in the kitchen.